see that also in a lot of work of a lot of other people, that how technology features, and sometimes not by imposition, it just exists as part of the fabric of the piece. That's how I see technology in my work. I think I see it as a fabric. I mean, of course, if I was making a play set 100 years ago, technology wouldn't exist in this way. But if it's set now, if I'm saying now, and that also, I think it features in this work, it has come back in this work, because I have always felt that in the theater, we have to say something that makes meaning for us as we live our everyday. I find theater to be that medium which has an immediacy to it. I feel, there's a certain immediacy to the medium form itself, because there's something about an effort, right? You have to go to the theater, you buy the ticket, you watch a play, you watch it in a certain time, you come out, and then you make sense of the play, you connect to it, and then you go out. Like I always feel like, will algorithms make sense after there is no cab industry ever? In 20 years from now, will algorithms as a play make sense? Maybe it may become a document of a certain time that we were living through. And I'm always questioning what is timeless work. I don't always understand what is timeless work. I mean, I understand what timelessness means when we talk about Shakespeare's works or any other writer's works. But I think I also see time as an aspect in my work, where how much of the current time are we living in that we are bringing in? What articulation of that are we bringing in? And there's a risk to that. Sometimes you can tend to be so direct about it, no? That it can feel like, oh, this is a bit forced, like we don't want to see a play on social media. Hence, it was a very conscious choice that this play will never refer to real world social media. Like, it's never going to talk about Facebook, Instagram. It's a world by itself, and it's a fictional world by itself. It is an imagination of a social network that I have thought, and I've tried to see it, and I feel like what a social network would of that look like, And I've been reading so much about privatization of late, and I feel like, is that day far that there will be no government, but there will be only corporations ruling us. There will be companies who will manage states. There's no government anymore. I mean, I'm just thinking of a very, very a future where this may happen 50 years from now, and what tech will do in a way. So when I think of those things, I find very interesting that even our concept of authority and state, etc., are very intertwined with our everyday, with technology, with social media and all that. Now, what is controlled, what is not controlled, it's not always clear to us. So I think it slips into my work because somewhere it is sitting at the back of my mind. And there's something very specific I want to say about social media. I don't think I'm doing any analysis of social media. I think I'm doing something very specific about how social media as a space by itself can become an unsafe space. It offers a space for voicing our thoughts, our opinions, our emotions. At the same time, it can also become an extremely, extremely controlled a space which has a lot of hate. I mean, there's nothing new about this, right? We know how social media also works in that way. So as I was seeing how social media is changing in our times, I was like, how can I encapsulate what I feel about it, or what I think about it, or my experience of it? And this is my experience of it. Of course, it's not true for everyone. But my experience of it is that I always found it very difficult to navigate myself in social media in the last 3 years. I found it very difficult, and especially with the pandemic. I always found it to be a space which was becoming very difficult for me to express myself also. So I think that was playing somewhere at the back of my mind. And there's something beautiful that Sundar Sarokaya once said, who's a philosopher and also very, very, he's somebody who's always been associated with our training program. So in one of the training programs, we were talking about writing. And someone said that I want to write a play on migration. And he told that student that, if migration is running at the back of your mind, even if you wrote a love story, even if you wrote a comedy, it will feature. You don't have to work extra hard for it. You don't have to go and say, I want to make a play on migration. In fact, you can say, I want to make a play about two people who fall in love in so and so context, and in that migration will come because it's at the back of your mind. And that time I thought it was a wonderful concept, and today I realize what it means, because I never started out by saying I want to make a play on social media, or I want to make a play on social network, or how this affects us or anything, or how it changes us, or how it changes our behavior or informs us, etc. I think it was there at the back of my mind, and it has come in. So also looking at technology in form with algorithms, because you've seen the play. In that context, I used a lot of technology purposefully on stage, because technology, showing it, had a meaning in it. This time, I did not want to use anything which was tech in terms of projections. Though there is the presence of phones and everything, but it never gets into a high-tech design space or anything. It still remains to be very, 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 very much on lights and set and very simple aspects of theatre that we can use. Also because of the time we have at hand. We made algorithms over 8 weeks. We're making this over 4 weeks. So clearly there was no scope to get too high-tech about things, But yeah, I would say that that's why the digital features in my work. Because I think somewhere it's running at the back of my mind, and it's running because we are living it every day. So, yeah.